Welcome back, ballroom dance friends. Okay, today's topic is in response to a question in our comments. So thank you so much. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this. Ifedema maybe. I know some of the YouTube usernames are, completely not related to our name, but that's what we'll call you for today. So thank you so much for asking. Here goes. Love the video, and thank you for sharing your ballroom dance story. I hope I'm not overstepping boundaries here or asking too personal of a question, but I'd love to know how you met your husband. I'm a sucker for love stories. And then laugh out loud. So, here goes. I cannot tell you how many times people ask me, oh, is your husband a ballroom dancer? Is your husband your partner? My first question is, if I were a ballet dancer, would you ask me that? To me, it's just strange as a professional dancer. So when you see that romantic interaction on the competition floor or the performance floor, it is an illusion, guys. It's a performance. There's often relationship in the biblical sense going on behind the scenes, okay? So I had two partners before competing, turned pro with my second amateur partner, and then had one other pro partner after that. So out of all my partners, I only had a romantic relationship with one of them. Okay, guys. And people may assume otherwise if they were to see us on the comp floor, but absolutely zero romantic interest, guys. And often, even if there is a romance, guys, it's only for convenience. It is because, especially when you are pursuing dancing to a championship level, there's no opportunity to date anyone else. You are fully dedicated. It is a lifestyle. You are with this person 7 days a week. You're traveling with this person. You share the same hotel room with this person because it's cheaper than, unless you're made of money, you have to share a room. In some cases, you have to share a bed in the hotel room, particularly like England. It's just, you never know what you're going to get over there. But that does not mean that you're in any way remotely romantically involved. Okay, guys. I have seen, a couple true romantic relationships that culminate in marriage, that are long-term marriages, Igor and Irina Suvorov, for example. But that is not the norm, guys. That is the exception to the rule. Okay. Usually these things, if they happen at all, are short-lived. Number two, I always recommend my students do not date their dance partner. Okay. In my opinion, in past observations, it complicates things. It brings too much emotion and emotional baggage onto the dance floor. And it's already challenging enough to, be patient and considerate, etc. with the partner. People tend to let those, I'll say, impulse, self-control barriers down in personal relationships, and that is bad news bears on the dance floor. As a matter of fact, I know a couple pro couples who deliberately stopped competing when they got married or got romantically involved because they didn't want these. They wanted these to be mutually inclusive, and they found that the tension on the floor or in the personal relationship was negatively affecting the other relationship. Okay, guys? Secondly, even when I'm teaching, couples now, if they start dating when they're dancing with each other, honestly, guys, they can have a vicious argument at home that has nothing to do with the dancing, but they might come into their lesson that evening and have a total chip on their shoulder. I could cut the tension with a knife. For me, as a pro, this is very stressful. I teach and I want to impart joy in the lesson, and I cannot if someone comes in with a bee in their craw. Secondly, the student is not, biologically receptive to learning at that point. Those hormones and adrenaline's raging and they're angry. For me as a professional, I'm just there to make them the best dancer they can be. And if they're fighting like cats and dogs, that it's not going to happen. Okay, number 3. Over the years, I've seen many championship level dancers turn pro, including my own friends. Honestly, guys, once they turn pro, often many students throw themselves romantically at their pros. There's a bit of, I'll say, hero worship that goes on. Excuse me here. I'm getting my lights wonky. There we go. I do want you to see my face. Are we better? Okay. For example, this can manifest itself in any number of ways. I'll say inappropriate touching. Now, we do touch when we're dancing, but when I touch a student, it is singularly for the goal of communicating movement. But I'm saying touching in a way that's creepy. It's not appropriate for that time. As an observer, I can clearly see they're just coming on to the pro. I personally have never seen this go the other way with a pro. I mean, I have seen them date, but I've never seen the pro actually initiate that, guys. In my experience and my observation, it's always been the student that initiates. Usually that is the lady student coming onto the male teacher, but you know what? I have seen it go the other way too. Anyway, I find often teachers buy into their own hype and they start to think, well, I'm God's gift and this person loves me because I'm so sexy. No, it's an illusion. It's hero worship. Often they'll have a fantasy that they're going to turn pro when they dance with you and you're going to dump your partner and dance with them and they'll become a champion. No, these things never come to fruition. I've seen students, they will try to change clothes right next to in the same room as their pro. I even had one of my partner students who was really aggressively pursuing him, and she was married. She stripped down to nothing but little string thong with next to him, said, "Will you put my sun bronzer on me?" I'm standing right there and she's like, "You're not a prude, right?" Like, no, but I'm not stupid. I know what you're doing, lady. Trust me. So these things happen. And as such, I did not want to date a dancer. And in terms of my own reputation in the community, I didn't want to date one of my own students. So, I did have a couple students over the years express interest. And I told them, you know what, if you're going to date me, you ain't taking lessons from me or in my studio. This is just bad for my reputation. I don't want people to have the illusion that I'm trading one thing for another, or it's just, as the pro, you're in the power position. I just don't recommend it, guys. As the pro, I wouldn't do it. As the amateur, it usually has a poor ending. Okay, guys, there's always some other, hot potato coming around the corner. And if they will do that with you, they can succumb to those same kind of lures, fishing lures that other students put out there. Okay, guys. So based on all of that heartbreak I've seen, and oh my gosh, guys, I wouldn't even know where to start. The stories I could share. I did not want to put myself up for that heartbreak because I have seen many affairs, including with married male-female pros on either side, either gender, that run off with a student. And I desperately wanted to date a non-dancer. Okay, guys. So my final year I entered Blackpool. My pro partner at that time was quite a bit older than me. He had arthritis. And this had been bothering him for some time. We'd had to no-show some comps. Anyway, the night before we were to fly to Blackpool, he said, I can't do it, because he was getting like cortisone injections or some sort of steroid in his feet to treat this. And this time it didn't work. Okay. So I'm devastated. I wouldn't have stayed in town at all, except there was a TV show, So You Think You Can Dance, that was filming a debut party at my studio. And I was like, you know what? this is a dumpster fire, but, God wants me to stay and, monitor this, business thing going on, because I have the world's or the country's largest ballroom dance studio now. And, maybe this happened for a reason. It sucked because when show the comp, you automatically place last in the public records. But I can tell you this, if you go back and you search someone's records and they place dead last and they got no callbacks out of the first round, statistically, this is microscopically likely. They probably weren't there actually at the comp, even though they registered. You can't take your name off once you registered, just the way it is. Okay, guys? Maybe that's to give people incentive to actually show up so they can organize it well. Anyway, okay, so I tell my boyfriend at the time, and so the morning I was supposed to fly out, he ghosted me, disappeared. He took all my pictures off his Facebook page, etc. So yeah, I got ghosted. And I'd been dating him for a couple of years, so it was a little surprising. I found out later from a source, and you know what, secondhand, who knows what actually happened, that he had met some chickaroo online and, was planning on spending that few weeks with her. But since I left town, I kind of foiled that again. Secondhand, I could care less. It was meant to be. So I was devastated, as you can imagine. But all of my friends and family hated him. They're like, Sunny, he is using you. He treats you horribly. And you know what? It's all true. So they had been encouraging me for years to go on this website, Match.com. And I was like, I'm not finding a boyfriend online. That is creepy. It's a bunch of losers on there who can't find a person in real life. But you know what? I had already taken 3 weeks off of work, and I was like, I'm not going to go back to teaching. I haven't had a break in years. I need to lick my wounds here and figure out how I'm going to go forward. I've lost a dance partner. I've lost a boyfriend. My life is over. So I did go on Match.com, filled out the profile. It was way too long. I was like, I'm not doing this. I gave up. I walked away. Well, it turns out the next day I looked at my computer and I forgot to close out the window. So it was still on there. And I'm like, fine, I'll finish it. What's to lose? They had a 1 month free membership or something. So I was like, oh, I'll try it. So submitted. And excuse me, my partner or my future husband, reached out to me on there. I guess you get some sort of daily recommendations or something. I was one of these new faces that popped up, and they give you a percentage of how much your personality aligns with this person. And what I liked about that was you get to read in depth about that person. So that long questionnaire is a pain in the butt, but we had both filled it out very thoroughly. So I knew, okay, we mutually have an interest in history. I went through these things. We like the same music. We do not smoke. We've never done drugs, et cetera, et cetera. I found dating people before that, never online. Excuse me. They would often misrepresent themselves to kind of lure you into that relationship. And then once you're a few months in, oh, great, you do recreational drugs. You could have mentioned that on date one. And the Match.com, there's no incentive to lie because you don't know who you're attracting. You're just finding someone that's like you. So this worked great for me. I used to see those commercials we got happily married. I'm like, oh, what a crock. But it's true. I'm one of those people. So highly recommend. And this is crazy, guys. I met him, that first day I was really even on there. And it turns out he had a short-term membership as well, 1 month, and his membership expired the next day. So had I not been boyfriend dumped and partner dumped right before Blackpool and my life was over, I would have never met him. So we, touched base, and at that point, when you both agree, you exchange personal information. So we started dating. And I did date several people on there. That first week I went to go out for coffee. So what's this person like? And they were all normal, but he was my favorite. And I really liked that he came out of the chute with, I'm totally into you. I'm already not dating anyone else. I don't care what you do. I'm just putting that on the table. So I really appreciated, that he was obviously not there for some sort of cheap hookup, because that's so not me. I'm a very old-fashioned person. I'm a goody two-shoes. So anyway, 3 months later, we're engaged. And 1 year later, we're married. And guess what? 14 years later, still married. For those of my single friends out there, you hear like, oh, marriage is so hard, and the reality is, no, it's not hard, guys. All you need to do is be kind and patient with your spouse. Pay attention to, what floats their boat, what their love language is, so to speak. So yeah, highly recommend getting married. I think it's way underrated. Okay, guys. And certainly this day and age, with kind of the World Wide Web, and virtual relationships dominating everything, I think it's a heck of a lot less stressful than dating. So I hope that has been interesting. Thank you so much for your question, Ifedema. And if you guys have a question for me, hey, shoot me a comment. I love your questions. It makes my job so darn easy. So I hope that's been interesting. And if you thought it was, or thought it was entertaining, hey, just hit that like button. Or if you're interested in more like hardcore ballroom dance cultural topics, like, what do I suggest to get the most out of your dance lessons? How do I resolve, how do I break up with my coach? Whatever. Hey, shoot me a line, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm a long-term professional dancer. I'm so old. I was pro before Dancing with the Stars came on TV. So I have a lot of firsthand industry experience as an amateur and as a professional. So hope that's been helpful. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Happy dancing!